Adjugé, 5 200.
Pour 20 000.
Adjugé, 440.
11 000.
What sets us apart in a globalized market is Paris's reputation. The art market is part of Paris's image. It contributes to what you might call the essence of France.
Adjugé 32 millions.
Hello and welcome to a new edition of France in Focus. I'm Nadia Sharbi, and this week you find us in the stunning 1920s decor of famed auction house Drouot, as we look into Paris's bid to reclaim its status as the world's leading art market. Let's take a look around. France's auction industry is currently made up of some 16,000 establishments employing 25,000 people, of which 600 auctioneers. According to the latest data, in 2018, French sales totaled just over 3 billion euros, but 70% of that total went under the hammer of just 20 leading houses, of which Drouot. And as you're about to see, not only is the market concentrated in just a few hands, but even here in Paris, it's foreign auction houses that lead the pack.
For much of contemporary history, Paris was considered the uncontested art capital of the world. But in the 1950s, it began losing some of its appeal as art auctions were increasingly conducted abroad, like with Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, which was sold for 450 million euros by Christie's in New York in 2017.
If we acquire a Basquiat in Paris, for instance, we'll send it to New York, because we know it'll sell for more there. And if we acquire a Lucien Freud, we'll send it to London, because that's where the demand for this artist is highest. But that works both ways. If New York acquires a Dubuffet, they'll send it to Paris.
Today, France lags far behind the US, China and the UK, which together account for more than 80% of a global art market worth around 28 billion euros. And even of the sales made in Paris, the lion's share goes to foreign auction houses. The October sale of Nicolas de Staël's Parc des Princes for 20 million euros, a new record for a French artist, was once again conducted by Christie's, which together with Sotheby's rule over the Paris art market. But French auctioneers are now hoping to reverse this trend. Art Curial on the Champs-Élysées has risen through the ranks in recent years and is catching up to its international rivals. The auction house focuses almost exclusively on French artists, and the strategy is paying off. This Gauguin painting, for instance, sold for 9 million euros in December, twice its estimated value.
Would it
have been given the same exposure in New York? I'm not sure. I think that this idea of selling a painting close to where it was created, close to where the artist was born, is also a way to add cultural value to a work of art. What's important now is to continue to show, with our record and our results, that Paris-based auctions are just as worthy as others.
While Christie's and Sotheby's remain the world's largest auction houses by a distance and continue to outperform their global rivals, both have been acquired by French companies in a symbolic win for Paris.
So with just 7% of the global art market, France has been seriously outbid by the US, China and the UK. But it is working on making a comeback. And to find out more, I've come to Paris's oldest auction house, Drouot. Alexandre Riquelot, hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much for having us. As we just saw in our report, the world's two biggest auction houses, Christie's and Sotheby's, have just been bought up by French businessmen. And French artworks often reach their highest bids abroad. In such a globalized world and market with so many international houses, why does it matter where sales take place?
It's becoming less and less important because technology has developed so much, and certainly the internet has brought about profound change. So today we have customers around the world who can bid online wherever they are. Having said that, the marketplace remains very important, because beyond the auction itself, there are a dozen professions involved in the process, from catalog editors to printers and art historians, and that perhaps goes some way towards explaining why, to this day, Paris remains such an important international capital of the arts. You have not just the auction house, but behind it there are many professions that contribute to the success of the sale.
So is there any way that France can come back to the forefront and become once again the world's leading art market, do you think?
I don't think France can reclaim its crown as the world's #1 art market. Let's not forget that we're talking about a relatively small nation with regards to both size and population. However, what does set us apart from the rest of the world is our reputation, our image. I think we can agree that spending a few days in Paris to buy a work of art at an auction at Drouot or elsewhere is by no means painful. And to a certain extent, the art market contributes to Paris's image. I'd even say it contributes to what we like to call the génie français, the essence of France.
Now, we've been mentioning Paris a lot, and obviously the capital concentrates much of the bigger sales, but France is one of the last nations where auction houses are disseminated across the country. Is that an important specificity that should be preserved, at least from a social and perhaps even cultural standpoint?
France is a relatively centralized nation, with Paris at its center. But it's still a very rich nation, with incredible heritage and cultural riches scattered across its territory. In our auctioneer slang, we often describe France as an amazing attic, because to this day, all over the country, we regularly come across high-quality artworks. And we've had proof of that very recently, with a fabulous painting by Cimabue discovered in Compiègne, and of course, the Caravage painting found in Toulouse.
So for now, at least, the French have lost the sales battle, even on home soil. But they do still enjoy a global reputation for their expertise, which exports itself very well across the world. What makes French commissaires-priseurs or auctioneers different from their foreign counterparts?
To me, it's above all a question of history. Here in France, the commissaire-priseur is an institution that came under official regulation under Henry II. But that was actually in place even before then. In fact, going back to the French Revolution, commissaire-priseurs were key figures during the revolutionary auctions of royal artifacts and furnishings. So the French auctioneer has this long tradition and history. Add to that the fact that French auctioneers have very distinctive training, because they're both ministerial officials, in other words, solicitors, and art experts. That double training is very much specific to France. My foreign counterparts are trained solely to yield the hammer. Here, the commissaire-priseur is the boss and comes in at every single stage of the auction from start to finish.
Alexandre Giquelot, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For most of us, the auction world evokes multi-million euro bids and high-end artifacts like these. But across France, auction houses have also become a place for cash-strapped individuals or companies to earn a quick euro or buy on the cheap.
Lampadaire, luminaire, table roulante, 10 euros. 15 à 20 droite, 20, madame.
In this house, everything is on offer.
Adjugé 25 ici.
This is an estate sale.
Pour ce tapis, on va commencer à 30 euros.
Items have been announced online in advance, and these buyers have already done their research. They only had minutes for a short visit before the sale started, including to the seller. Regulars usually know the tricks of the trade.
Pour une armoire à corniche. 35. Voilà. Oh là 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 là.
I've opened guest rooms. There will be a TV in each room, so I pick them up as I go along. 80 euros. I still need to see if it works. That's the first thing. Nothing is guaranteed in these sales. If it works, I guess it's pretty good business.
With the sale concluded, everyone rushes to collect their goods, and it's better to be organized. The advantage for the auctioneer, no moving costs, and the guarantee of selling is better than in a traditional auction house.
In a single hour, we sold 107 items, which will quickly allow us to empty the house.
Goods initially valued at 5,700 euros have sold for 8,000. Maître Simon takes a commission of around 23% on each item, but it's not enough to curb the enthusiasm of these bargain hunters. 40 kilometers away, it's these wooden stoves, tools and pieces of office equipment which spark interest. They're being sold by a bankrupt company. Auctions like these allow it to sell its stock and pay its debts.
I stopped because I was over the limit. I want a new start. It's been dragging on for 6 months, so I'm glad it's finally finished. The workload, customers, orders, quotes, it became complicated to manage alone. I wasn't cut out for this.
Once a week, Maître Simon organizes these auctions at businesses or at home. Professional equipment accounts for half of his turnover, which keeps in line with national figures which put machinery and used vehicles at 47% of all auction sales across the country.
Well, that's our lot for this edition. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to France 24.